Brisbane girl made good, Brisbane boy made good now. Lord Mayor Graham Quirk joins us. It's nice to hear Emma's voice from New Orleans.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Gary. Flying the Australian flag?
No doubt, but just inside the portico of the hotel. She's still not running that risk. Good to see anyway, Lord Mayor. A lot to talk about. Can I just deal with the Cole Campbell matter? Because Cole, as you know, laid to rest yesterday, and a lot of people last week when we heard the sad news of Cole's passing said, you know, Roma Street Parklands, can we do something for him? How hard is that to do?
Well, I don't think it's going to be hard in the end, Gary. I mean, there is an agreement at both state and council level that we ought to do something. Mm-hmm. And where we are now is we've got a proposal that we will put before Bev. I think it's important. All of the listeners have been fantastic in terms of all the ideas that have come forward. But we, out of respect for Cole, we want to now talk to Bev, his wife, and make sure that she's happy. And I'll be doing that hopefully later this afternoon. I had a talk to Claire Lavender also about this, of course, is Cole's replacement on this program for Saturday and Sunday gardening. And so that's where we are.
Yeah, all right. So things are happening. That's the point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good. Thanks for the update on that. Fun story the other day about the woman who was flying between Cairns and Townsville, her car parked at one of the airports, and yet she managed to get a bluey crossing the go-between bridge. It's good that she's using the road, but I don't know how she did it.
Yeah, it's a pretty memorable detour, but clearly a mistake. So, look, I just say to anybody, Gary, out there that is faced with this, I mean, there is photographic evidence which is taken in relation to vehicles that cross along the way in terms of bill posting out. Human error will occur. 99.99% of the billing is right. There is always going to be the odd situation that's not, and I just say to people, if that occurs, let us know straight away, either the call centre in the case of the go-between bridge or Flow Tolling, whichever tolling company is in relation to the others, and they will correct it.
I know you've waived the fine for Sue Brennan, but seriously, if she was the leftover bit from 99.992% accuracy, she should go and buy a casket ticket, shouldn't she?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a bit like that. It's her day. So
you do have a right to appeal. That's the point you're making.
Oh, absolutely. If people just contact, if there's an error, and clearly in her case, I mean, she was miles away, nowhere near the place. So where a human error has occurred, it will be fixed.
I think you should actually get her car, which apparently is a little Hyundai, and the fact that it could be parked at Cairns Airport and crossing the go-between bridge all at the same time makes it a miracle car. Anyway, enough on that. Now, speaking of places and going back to the future a bit, Brunswick Street Mall, we've talked a bit about that as well in the past, but you really want to trigger this debate, reopening up Brunswick Street as a vehicular route?
Well, there is a significant push for it. It would be an opening up which would have limited hours, though. So, in other words, I mean, it'd be crazy. You couldn't have it open sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights when the nightclub activity is occurring. But and in fact, you may not have it open any night. But there is a debate certainly around the daytime aspects of the mall. And I don't have a fixed view on this at all. But it is a view that is out there. It's not. It's within the business community locally, so the debate does need to be had, and we're in that process right now.
Because again, about the open space, we talked about Roma Street Parklands just a moment ago. There's some debate about what should happen to the old Supreme Court building, and Bruce Flegg, I think, is going to make some announcements in October, and then talking to others, and you want to sort of expand the mall or have more pedestrian-friendly precincts. It's about getting that balance, I would have thought, between people who want to drive and people, frankly, who shouldn't be driving, can walk.
Well, absolutely. But I mean, it's also about the activation of the Valley Mall, and the daytime economy needs to grow in the Valley. So to do that, you've got to create a climate. So the great thing about the Queen Street Mall is it's the most successful mall in Australia because it's just full of energy. You walk down there and it's just such an interesting place to be. There's so many things happening around you. It's the Valley. The Valley needs something to activate it, and to get to this point of having a strong daytime economy there, we've got to change the shape of what it is in some way at the moment. So I don't know exactly what the answer is at the moment, but we've got to debate it. We've got to get to a point where we have an agreed position and then take it forward.
Because, I mean, it's a real challenge, a party precinct versus a traffic precinct. I mean, you're either going to ban cars or go right around the valley or something, because the mix of cars and those coming out, spilling out of nightclubs late at night and so forth is dangerous enough, I'm told.
Well, it is. That's very, very true. So that the whole nighttime economy is an entirely different shape.
Yeah.
You go from one extreme to the other with the valley, but look, we will get there. There is enough people in the valley and the surrounds and businesses down there that want to make this thing work, and so we have got a real drive to make things happen. All
right, Lord Mayor Graham Quirk is here taking calls. Paul at Mitchelton, you've got a question about a couple of closed roads. What, around Alderley, Paul?
Yes, we've got Alderley Avenue and Frederick Street both closed in Alderley. I was wondering what was happening with those, Lord Mayor.
Paul, look, you've got me there. I'd need to take that on notice. Are these temporary road closures up there at the moment?
No, they've got bollards installed across the roadway.
Right, okay.
So it's at the railway bridges.
It's the railway bridge story, yeah.
Does the council own the road? What's the situation with those?
Well, they would be council roads, I would have thought, but this is where it's an open level crossing, is it?
No, they're bridges.
No, there's problems with the bridges there, Lord Mayor.
Right, this is the bridge, the railway, over the railway line.
Yeah, Paul, I think the structure of the bridge is in doubt, and that's the problem, I think, Paul. They've made it safe by shutting it down.
Yes. Is it?
But it creates a really big detour.
Oh, I can imagine it does. So this would be a duty of care, clearly, where the state government have had to close that, I'd say, Paul, is what's happened here.
Yeah. So what's happening to the local roads, Paul, as a result of these bridges, these thoroughfares being closed?
Well, there's no crossings, no way to get across the railway line between Wilston Road and South Pine Road.
Yeah, so it's not the road that's closed down, it's just the crossing, the pedestrian crossing.
No, the whole roadway's closed.
The whole roadway, okay.
Yeah.
Look, Paul, what I'll do, if you can leave your details, I will certainly make sure someone gets back to you to explain exactly what's happening there and the way forward.
I think there's three bridges, actually, some on the north side, the railway bridges. These are road bridges, and I think a couple of others, certainly at least one other's been load limited because of, again, a tired old structure, and I'm just letting you know, this Lord Mayor, Scott Emerson, the Transport Minister, had said failure to maintain is the problem, apparently. Okay. But this has got to be a drastic problem for traffic management in that area, surely.
Well, it is. If people are faced with large detours, and that's an issue, obviously, for local people, but we'll certainly find out a bit more detail.
All right, Paul's done well. He actually stumped the bloke he normally knows, so he's done well. So the Lord Mayor will be on to that. I got no doubt about it. David's at Pullen Vale. David, you're a bus driver. Good on you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Fine.
G'day, David.
Yeah, hi. Just a question. I'm a council bus driver, and I've just got a query. I think it's been tabled a few months ago with the residents out here around Bellbowrie. It's just at the Grandview Road bus stop there, along Moggle Road, approaching Bellbowrie. Mm-hmm. A lot of people park there, and then when they're getting off, they've got to find their way across the road, and a lot of them are walking between the road and the Armco, and there's only like a 5, maybe 6 foot space between the traffic and the Armco, and they're walking across there. Mm-hmm. I had an old Asian lady, and I had to make sure she got across the road safe yesterday, and and it's just a bit of a concern, because being such a busy road, I thought there was like maybe a push on there for a pedestrian overpass there.
Well, certainly we can have a look at that, David. There's 6,000 bus stops across the city of Brisbane, and we will have a look at Grandview Road. If there's a limited, pedestrian capacity out there as well, then that's going to be an issue in terms of where cars are parking. We might need to look at that as well. But thank you very much for your call.
Your bus drivers would see a lot of that sort of stuff, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and it's good. It's good to get feedback, not only on air, but also, just generally to get these bits of information back so we can look at them and see if we can improve it.
Yeah, I always say, hardest part about doing something is knowing what it is you got to do.
Absolutely.
All right, Lord Mayor Graham Quirk, more calls in a moment. 3:45.
Your calls, your city, your station.
Drive with Gary Hardgrave.
Brisbane's own.
1116 4BC.
Thank you, Adam. At 3:50, this is Brisbane's own 4BC. Lord Mayor Graham Quirk is live, local, with us in the studio. Lord Mayor, see a few announcements about City Hall. Is that still on target to open, February next year?
Well, we start moving back in December, and the move will be...
the Christmas holidays.
That's right, and be completed in April.
So you'll be packing the boxes and moving?
Yes. Well, not yet, but we'll be soon.
Okay, so you move back into... Is it the same sort of layout from your point of view, council offices and that?
Well, it will be, but there will be changes. So, for example, it's all disability accessible now, which, of course, it hasn't been in the past. There's some changes. We've got an extra 1,300 square metres of function room areas. We've got a new third level, for example, with the Museum of Brisbane and Sister Cities areas. So there's a lot of changes. Commercial kitchen underneath as well.
Yeah, and of course you don't mind, some nice sweet biscuits and that. This bloke you've appointed can bake a few.
Well, he's actually a top executive chef, and so Russell Armstrong is his name. He set up the Palazzo Versace back in 2000 when it kicked off. So, but I think the other really new feature is this LED lighting in the auditorium. It just copped a bit of criticism from one quarter, but overall, I think people will be very, very happy when they see the result.
Come on now. Look, Lord Mayor, you're going to break out the flares, bring back the whole disco thing. Is that the plan?
Well, Saturday Night Fever, here it comes. I don't think so.
Brisbane's head to the John Travolta you can become. So is it a disco ball? What's the story?
Yeah, no, look, well, what it is no matter what sort of function you're having, you can, change the LED lights. There's 8,500 LED lights in the dome ceiling. So if it's St. Paddy's Day, for example, you can do a big shamrock. If 4BC wanted to have a big corporate function, for example, you can put your own logo up as whatever you want it to be. Happy birthday, Gary. Anything you like.
Anything is possible. So you've therefore updated what is a magnificent facility, magnificent room. That whole dome room has been magnificent in the past. It's now going to be even better.
Well, it will be. It will be more versatile. So it retained its old world charm as a heritage building, but it has a contemporary outlook in terms of what it can do, in terms of new technologies and all the rest of it. So
you say February, you're going to start moving in December. Does that mean Australia Day, the citizenship ceremony, will be back there?
Look, probably not that early. Okay. We've been pushing for it, but it's still a construction site and will remain so until April will be the completion. And the Governor, we're hoping, will rededicate City Hall in April, and then she'll be open for all of the people of Brisbane to have a great look at.
Yeah, because it in itself is just the number one building of Brisbane, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is our a great feature. It's probably our... Well, it's the people's place of Brisbane, and so I just can't wait for the opportunity of letting people have a look at it, and I think they will be very, very pleased with the outcome, Gary.
The other thing is that some of the things you found in the floor, right, or way down below, as you've dug and re-established footings and made the whole thing ship shape, you've found history of Brisbane down there.
There's some great points of interest, some very old tools dating back to the 1800s, old bottles of the same period, and we discovered a roadway. So we've not been able to retain the whole roadway, but we have been able to retain sections so that people can see through a glass flooring what things were like in that era. And of course it was built on a swamp, City Hall, and it was there were some horse activities occurring before then.
Okay, right.
Perhaps still today, some may say.
Some may say. Well, either way, it just reminds me, I've had excited chats with you, your predecessor, Campbell Newman, our mate John Miller, who is so gravely ill, and John, of course, had the courage of recording a lot of this history and these developments, these changes. He had a commission to do a lot of that work, didn't he?
Well, John has. He's been doing the documentary around the refurbishment, the whole restoration of City Hall as an historical piece for generations to come. So it is extremely sad, and it just shows the fine line that life is. But that said, that work will be a long-lasting piece of work, the restoration process.
Yeah, I just think it's worth just making that point. I mean, John continues in intensive care. His condition still gravely ill, and as I understand it, he's off the system that was keeping him going, life support. He's actually off that, but with the help of a respirator. And I spoke to Mark just before, but just another way in which John Miller has contributed to Brisbane, to southeast Queensland, the work that he's been doing on City Hall.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, one of those Brisbane personalities, and he's been great with all the work that he has done.
Yep. Okay. Well, our regards to Lynn and to Lucas and to Eleanor. Well, Lord Mayor, good to see you always.
Thank you,
for
Gary.
your time, Lord Mayor Graham Quirk. Come back again next week. We'll see what we can talk to him about then. It's 5 to 4.
More of what you want. More of what you need.
Drive with Gary Hardgrave.
Brisbane's own.
1116 4BC.